Man, I gotta get this off my chest. I'm still steamed, sitting here on my couch, typing this out on my phone while the whole thing's fresh. I ain't one to post my drama online, but after what went down at my girlfriend Sarah's birthday bash, I need to let it out somewhere. Maybe I'm looking for advice. Maybe I just want someone to say I ain't crazy. Don't know. Don't care. Here's the deal. I paid for everything. The fancy dinner, the drinks, the whole venue setup. Then I overheard something that flipped my world upside down. And let's just say Sarah and her crew got a wake-up call they didn't see coming. 3 days later, her friends are blowing up my phone, begging me to fix things because Sarah's a mess, crying, not eating, whatever. But I'm done being the nice guy who just takes it. Let me break it down. Quick context. I'm not some high roller, just a regular dude who's been saving up. Sarah's birthday is her Super Bowl. She starts planning in February, and it's always got to be bigger than last year. Last time, it was a rooftop party with a live band. This year, she wanted a speakeasy-style cocktail night with a 1920s murder mystery theme. She picked the spot, chose the vibe, invited her whole squad, 15 people, give or take, and basically handed me the reins to make it happen. I don't mind. I wanted her to feel like a queen. She's not a bad person, just loves the spotlight, you know? Always gotta be the star of the show, with her friends cheering her on like she's Beyoncé. Her crew, Melissa, Tara, her cousin Jake, and a bunch of others, ain't exactly my crowd. They're nice enough at her events, but I always feel like I'm just the guy who's there to hold her purse or something. I know some of you are probably thinking I'm a sucker for putting up with it, but when you're in it, you don't always see the red flags until they're smacking you in the face. So, the night. It's at this swanky downtown bar with private rooms, all decked out like a Prohibition-era joint. Dim lights, velvet curtains, the works. Sarah's obsessed with making it Instagram perfect, so she's got a group chat with a million messages about costumes and cocktails. I foot the bill for the room, the catered dinner, the open bar, everything. I even got her a custom bracelet, something she'd been eyeing online for months. Took me weeks to track it down, had it engraved with her initials. Not a ring, just a gift, but I knew her friends would gossip about proposals because they're obsessed with drama. I made sure to keep it low-key to avoid any weird vibes. From the jump, something felt off. Melissa, Sarah's best friend, kept avoiding eye contact, like she knew something I didn't. Jake, her cousin, was glued to his phone, smirking every time Sarah said something. Sarah herself was acting extra, checking her makeup every 5 minutes, posing for photos like she was on a red carpet. She kept stepping out to take a call, then coming back with this overly bright smile. I figured she was just hyped for her big night, but it was like I was the only one not in on the joke. During dinner, she asked me to grab her shawl from the coat room because she was chilly. No big deal, but the way she said it was weird, like she was reading a line from a script. I shrugged it off and headed out. That's when it happened. The walls in this place are paper thin, and as I passed the next private room, I heard laughter, loud, mean laughter, the kind you hear when someone's ripping into somebody. I recognized Sarah's voice right away. It's got the sharp edge when she's trying to impress her friends. I wasn't trying to snoop, but I froze when I heard my name. It was Melissa, giggling, saying, "What if he pops the question tonight?" Sarah let out this cackle and said, "Oh, I'd let him get down on one knee, make a fool of himself, then tell him to get lost. He's got to know he's not even close to my level." Jake piped up, "You got to get that on video." Sarah laughed harder. Already told Tara to record the whole thing for the group chat. They were all cracking up, like humiliating me was the highlight of the night. I stood there, shawl in hand, feeling like I'd been punched. My heart was racing, but my brain was just blank. Like, am I hearing this right? Is this a prank? But the way Sarah said it, so cold, so smug, I knew she meant every word. Her friends weren't shocked. They were eating it up, like I was some loser they could all dunk on. I don't know how long I stood there, but I pulled it together, walked back in, and plastered a smile on my face. Handed her the shawl, sat down, ate my food. Sarah didn't even glance at me, just kept posing for photos. I watched Tara sneak her phone out, probably ready to film if I did something pathetic. I didn't give them the satisfaction. I served dessert, paid for the extra drinks her friends ordered, way more than we planned, and signed the bill without a word. Sarah opened my gift, gave a quick thanks, then moved on to her friend's presents like mine was nothing. I kept it cool, didn't make a scene, because I knew that's what she wanted, a chance to play the victim. But inside, I was done. So, I drove home from Sarah's birthday disaster, my head spinning like I'd been hit by a truck. The receipt for the night was burning a hole in my wallet, and all I could hear was her voice, laughing about how she'd let me crash and burn for her friend's entertainment. I didn't text her good night, didn't even look at my phone. Just sat in my apartment, staring at the wall, replaying every second of that conversation I overheard. I kept thinking, how did I miss this? When did I become the guy who's just a prop in her big show? I barely slept, just tossed and turned, scrolling through her Instagram at 3 in the morning. She'd already posted a dozen stories, her blowing out candles, clinking glasses with Melissa, posing with that bracelet I got her like it was just another trinket. One caption read, "Best night ever. Thanks to my favorite people," with a heart emoji. I got a tag in one group photo, buried under a pile of hashtags, like I was the hired help who made her night perfect. That stung worse than I expected. By morning, I was done feeling sorry for myself. I made coffee, sat at my kitchen table, and started putting the pieces together. I wasn't going to let Sarah and her crew walk all over me. First thing, I checked the group chat sheets set up for the party. It was still buzzing, Melissa posting about how epic the night was, Jake sharing some blurry video of Sarah dancing, Tara chiming in with heart eyes emojis. Nobody mentioned me, except one throwaway comment from Sarah. Shout out to the guy who made it happen. No name, just the guy. Real classy. I started making a list of who was there: Melissa, Tara, Jake, some college friends I barely knew, and a couple of randoms who just showed up for the free drinks. Then I looked at the bill again. I'd paid for the room and dinner up front, but her friends kept ordering cocktails and shots after I left. Sarah had told the staff to put it all on the tab, and I only found out when I signed the final bill. It was way higher than I'd budgeted, but I'd let it slide last night to avoid a scene. Then the phone rang. It was the venue manager, a guy named Tony, sounding stressed. He said there was a problem with the bill. Someone tried to open another tab under my name after I left, and there was damage to the room. Apparently, someone spilled a bottle of red wine on the velvet curtains, and a chair got broken during their after-party in the lounge. Tony said it was an extra $250 on hold unless I disputed it. I told him straight up, I left early. Anything after 9 p.m. ain't on me. He said they'd listed Sarah as the contact, so they'd reach out to her. I said, good, let her deal with it. He emailed me the itemized bill, and I saw they'd ordered 2 bottles of top-shelf liquor after I was gone, plus the damage fees. I replied, confirming I wasn't paying a dime for that mess, and told Tony to send it all to Sarah. I went back to the group chat, curious if they'd mentioned the bill. Sure enough, Jake had posted, yo, who got the good footage from last night? Melissa replied, got the dessert entrance, but you know what we really wanted. A bunch of laughing emojis followed. I knew exactly what they meant, the video they hoped to get of me proposing and Sarah shutting me down. I was pissed, but also starting to feel this cold, clear focus. I messaged Jake directly. Hey, Sarah said you got some dope videos from the party. Can you send them over? She wants to make a montage. He didn't respond for an hour, then sent back, just some group stuff, nothing crazy. I pushed, cool, send it anyway. No reply. That told me everything. He was hiding something, probably at Sarah's request. Then Sarah texted me, all bubbly like nothing happened. Morning. Last night was amazing. Hope you're not too hungover. I had 1 beer the whole night. But sure. I didn't reply, just set my phone down and went for a walk to clear my head. When I got back, the group chat was popping off. Sarah's friends were freaking out about the venue emailing them about the bill, saying they got overcharged and the place was shady. Sarah was trying to play peacemaker, saying she'd figure it out, but you could tell she was sweating. I wasn't in the chat anymore. Sarah had removed me, but I could see the notifications piling up. I smirked a little. Let them squirm. Next, I called the jeweler about the bracelet. It hadn't been picked up yet, so I asked if I could cancel the order. The lady on the phone said they could refund me, minus a small fee for the engraving. I said, fine, do it. Sarah wasn't getting that bracelet now. I also posted in a local event planning group on Facebook, warning people about booking with a big party led by a Sarah who likes speakeasy themes. I didn't name her directly, just dropped enough details to make it clear. Within hours, 2 people messaged me, saying they'd had similar issues with groups like hers, unpaid tabs, trashed venues. I didn't respond, just let it sit. Sarah's perfect little world was starting to crack, and I wasn't even breaking a sweat. The next day, I woke up to a flood of notifications, and let me tell you, it was like watching a house of cards start to wobble. Sarah's group chat was still going nuts, her friends whining about the venue's scam, and arguing over who ordered what. I wasn't in it anymore, but my phone kept buzzing with screenshots from a buddy, Chris, who's friends with Tara. He sent me a few messages like, dude, what did you do? They're losing it. I filled him in on what I overheard, and he just said, man, that's cold. You good? I told him I was fine, just done playing doormat. But inside, I was still fuming, not just at Sarah, but at how her whole squad thought they could treat me like a joke, and I'd just take it. Nah, not today. Sarah texted me again, this time less bubbly. Hey, we need to talk about the bill. The venue saying I owe for damages? You said you'd cover everything. I stared at my phone, almost laughing at the nerve. I replied, I paid for what we agreed on. You and your friends trashed the place after I left. That's on you. She fired back, you're making me look bad in front of everyone. I didn't respond. Let her stew. Then Melissa slid into my DMs, all fake nice, saying, hey, Sarah's really stressed. Can you just clear this up with the venue? It's a misunderstanding. I shot back, no misunderstanding. I heard what she said. You all wanted a show. Now deal with the encore. She left me on read, which felt pretty good. I decided to lean in a bit. I called Tony at the venue again, asking for a detailed breakdown of the damages. He sent me photos, red wine stains all over the curtains, a broken chair, and some smashed glassware. He said Sarah's group tried to blame it on another party, but the staff saw them in the lounge after I left. I told him to keep me out of it and send all charges to Sarah. Then I took it a step further. I posted another warning in that local event planning group, adding details about the speakeasy theme and the group size, still not naming Sarah directly. Got a few more DMs from people saying they dealt with similar crews, big talkers who rack up bills and bounce. One guy even said he recognized Sarah's name from a similar mess at a karaoke bar last year. I didn't reply, but it was starting to feel like her reputation wasn't as bulletproof as she thought. Then Jake, her cousin, texted me out of nowhere. Yo, you're stirring up drama. Just pay the bill and let it go. Sarah didn't mean anything by it. I laughed out loud. Didn't mean anything? I texted back. You got that video you were so excited about? Maybe I should ask Tara for it. He didn't respond, but I could practically hear him panicking. I wasn't bluffing. I knew Tara had been filming, and if they wanted to play dirty, I'd make sure everyone saw the real Sarah. I checked her Instagram again. She'd posted a new story, all pouty with some vague caption like, "When people try to ruin your vibe." No mention of me, but I knew it was a shot. Her friends were hyping her up in the comments, but I noticed Tara hadn't liked the post. Trouble in paradise, maybe? By afternoon, the venue emailed me again, saying Sarah finally responded but tried to dodge the charges, claiming I was her sponsor for the night. I called Tony and said it straight. I'm not her anything. She's responsible. He said they'd handle it and might ban her group from future bookings. I felt a little spark of satisfaction. Sarah's perfect little world was unraveling, and all it did was tell the truth. I went for a run to clear my head, and when I got back, Chris sent me another screenshot. The group chat was imploding, Melissa blaming Jake for the extra drinks, Tara saying she wasn't paying for someone else's mess, and Sarah begging everyone to chill. I couldn't help but smile. They thought they could set me up, and I'd just roll over. Nope. I wasn't done yet, but I wasn't going to be the guy who starts a screaming match either. I'd let their own chaos do the work for me. By day 3, the whole thing was starting to feel like a bad reality show, but I wasn't about to let Sarah and her posse rewrite the script. My phone was blowing up with texts from her friends, all trying to guilt me into bailing them out. Melissa sent another message, saying, "Sarah's freaking out, just talk to her. Please." Jake even had the guts to call, but I let it go to voicemail. He left a rambling message about how I was overreacting and needed to be a man about it. Be a man? After they planned to humiliate me on video? I laughed, deleted the message, and kept it moving. Sarah herself sent a long text, all dramatic, saying she was sorry if I hurt you, but that I was making her life hell by spreading lies. Lies? I heard her loud and clear, plotting to make me look like a fool. I didn't reply. I was done playing her games. I checked the group chat screenshots Chris was sending me. It was pure chaos now. Melissa and Tara were at each other's throats, arguing over who spilled the wine that trashed the venue's curtains. Jake was whining about how he had to pay for his own cab home, like that was my problem. Sarah was trying to play the victim, posting, "I can't believe this is happening on my birthday week." I rolled my eyes so hard I thought they'd get stuck. Then I got a call from Tony at the venue. He said Sarah finally emailed them, claiming she didn't know about the extra charges and tried to pin it on me again, saying I was supposed to cover everything as her partner. I told Tony, we're not partners, and I'm not paying for their mess. He said they were sending her a final bill and considering a ban for her whole group. I thanked him and hung up, feeling a little lighter. That's when I decided to turn up the heat. I went back to that local event planning group on Facebook and updated my post with more details, mentioned the 1920s theme, the big group, and how they tried to dodge the bill. I still didn't name Sarah directly, but I dropped enough hints that anyone local could figure it out. Within an hour, 3 more people messaged me, saying they'd had run-ins with her crew at other events, same story, big parties, unpaid tabs, and trashed venues. One woman said Sarah's group left a bar with a $300 tab last summer and ghosted the owner. I screenshotted those messages, just in case I needed them later. I wasn't trying to start a war, but I wasn't going to let Sarah spin this like I was the bad guy. Then Chris texted me something wild. He said Tara had DM'd him, admitting she felt bad about the party. She claimed she didn't know Sarah was going to say that stuff about me, but she went along with it because everyone was laughing. I told Chris, yeah, real convenient she's sorry now that the bill's due. He said Tara was freaking out because Sarah was blaming her for the video idea, and now the group was splitting, half siding with Sarah, half bailing because they didn't want to get stuck with the venue's charges. I couldn't help but grin. Their little clique was crumbling, and all I did was stop footing the bill for their nonsense. Later that night, Sarah showed up at my place, no warning, just banging on my door. I opened it, and she was already mad, eyes flashing like I'd stolen something from her. "You're ruining everything," she yelled, pushing past me into my living room. "My friends are fighting, the venue's harassing me, and now people are talking about me online." I stayed calm, leaned against the counter, and said, "Sounds like you made a mess, not me." She started pacing, saying I was being petty, that it was just a stupid joke, and I was blowing it out of proportion. I cut her off. "You wanted me to look pathetic for your friend's TikTok. I heard you. Don't play dumb." She froze, then tried to backtrack, saying it wasn't serious, just girl talk. I told her to leave. She grabbed her bag, called me a jerk, and slammed the door so hard my neighbor's dog started barking. I just stood there, feeling this weird mix of anger and relief. I wasn't her puppet anymore. The next morning, I woke up to a storm of messages, and it was like Sarah's whole world was imploding while I was just sipping my coffee, watching it burn. My phone had texts from Tara, Melissa, and even some random friend of Sarah's I barely knew, all begging me to talk to Sarah, because she was falling apart. Tara's message was the most desperate. She's not sleeping. She's a wreck. Just hear her out. I didn't buy it. 3 days ago, they were all laughing about me getting humiliated on camera, and now I'm supposed to play the hero? Nah, I was done with that. I checked Instagram, and Sarah had posted a cryptic story, a black screen with "Sometimes you trust the wrong people" in white text. Her friends were piling on in the comments, hyping her up, but I noticed Jake hadn't liked it. Chris texted me, saying Jake and Sarah were fighting because he was mad she dragged him into the venue mess. I couldn't help but smirk. Her loyal cousin was bailing. I called Tony at the venue to make sure my name was clear. He confirmed Sarah was now fully on the hook for the $250 in damages and the extra drinks. She tried calling them, claiming it was a mix-up, but the staff had receipts, literally and figuratively. Tony said they'd banned her group from booking again, and word was spreading among other local venues. I thanked him and felt a weight lift. Then I got bold. I messaged Tara directly. Hey, still got that video from the party? I'd love to see what you all thought was so funny. She replied in minutes, all nervous. It's nothing, just group stuff. I deleted it. Sure she did. I pushed, cool, but if it pops up online, I'll make sure everyone knows the context. She left me on read, and I knew I'd hit a nerve. They were scared of that video getting out, and I wasn't even sure I wanted it. Just wanted them to sweat. Then my buddy Chris dropped a bombshell. He'd heard from a mutual friend that Sarah was telling people I'd abandoned her at the party and stuck her with the bill because I was jealous of her friends. I laughed out loud. Jealous? Of their fake Instagram lives? I texted Chris back. Let her spin it. Truth's coming out. I posted a vague story of my own. Just a sunset with Karma's funny like that. Didn't tag anyone, but I knew Sarah's crew would see it. Sure enough, Melissa DM'd me, saying, "That's low, dragging this out online." I replied, "I heard Sarah saying I ditched her. Want to talk about low?" She didn't respond. I was starting to enjoy this. Not because I'm petty, but because they thought they could control the narrative and I was proving them wrong. By evening, my mom called, worried because Sarah's mom had reached out, saying I'd caused a scene, and left Sarah to deal with everything. I told my mom the truth. How Sarah planned to humiliate me, how her friends were in on it, how I just stopped paying for their mess. She sighed and said, "Some people only learn when they lose something. You're better than that." That hit me hard. I wasn't trying to ruin Sarah's life, but I wasn't going to let her ruin mine either. I went through my phone, blocked Jake and Melissa, and unfollowed most of Sarah's crew. I didn't need their noise anymore. The group chat screenshots Chris sent showed they were still fighting. Tara was done with Sarah, saying she wasn't paying for her drama, and some other friends were ghosting the chat entirely. Sarah's perfect little empire was cracking, and I didn't even have to lift a finger. I just stopped playing along. Things were getting messier by the minute, and I was starting to feel like I was watching a train wreck in slow motion. Sarah's crew was falling apart, and my phone was still buzzing with their desperate attempts to pull me back into the drama. Tara sent another message, practically begging. "Sarah's losing it. She didn't mean it. Just talk to her, so we can move on." I didn't respond. Then Jake tried a different angle, texting, "You're making this worse for everyone. Just pay the venue, and we'll call it even." I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my phone. Pay for their mess? After they planned to make me their punchline? I shot back. "You got some nerve. Keep that video handy, might need it." He went silent, and I knew they were scrambling. Chris sent me more screenshots from their group chat. Melissa had bailed, saying she was done with the drama, and Tara was threatening to block Sarah if she didn't cover the venue's bill. Sarah was still trying to play queen, posting, "Real friends don't ditch you when things get tough." I rolled my eyes. Real friends don't plot to humiliate you either. I checked in with Tony at the venue again, just to make sure they weren't trying to drag my name back into it. He said Sarah had called, crying, saying she'd pay the $250 but needed time. He wasn't buying her act, and told her she had 48 hours or they'd escalate it to collections. I felt a grim kind of satisfaction. Her perfect image was taking a hit, and all I did was refuse to clean up her mess. Then I got a wild idea. I reached out to a local bartender friend, Mike, who works at another spot Sarah's crew likes to hit. I asked if he'd heard about her group. He laughed and said, "Oh yeah, they're notorious. Last time they were here, they tried to skip out on a $200 tab. We had to chase them down." I told him about the speakeasy party, and he said he'd spread the word among other bar owners to watch out for her. I wasn't trying to ruin her life, but I wanted her to feel the weight of her actions. Then Sarah pulled a stunt I didn't see coming. She showed up at my work, my actual job at the auto shop, during my lunch break. I was in the break room when my coworker said, "Some girl's asking for you out front." I walked out, and there she was, all dressed up, eyes red like she'd been crying. She started talking fast, saying, "I messed up, okay? I was stupid. It was a dumb joke. I didn't mean it." I just stood there, arms crossed, while she rambled about how her friends were abandoning her and her mom was mad because the venue kept calling. I cut her off. "You plan to make a fool of me for clout. You don't get to cry your way out of it now." She got mad, said I was being heartless, and stormed off, yelling, "You'll regret this." I just shrugged and went back to my sandwich. My coworker raised an eyebrow but didn't ask. I was done explaining myself. That night, I saw Sarah's latest Instagram story, a selfie with a sad filter, captioned, "Learning who's really there for you." Half her friends didn't even like it, and I noticed Tara and Jake had unfollowed her. Chris texted me, saying the group chat was dead. Everyone was either fighting or had left. I felt a strange calm. Sarah's world was built on her friends' approval, and now it was crumbling because she couldn't keep up the act. I blocked her number, not because I was mad, but because I didn't need her voice in my head anymore. I'd already spent enough time being her prop. Now I was writing my own story. A week later, and I'm sitting here feeling like I finally got my life back. The drama with Sarah and her crew didn't just fizzle out. It exploded, then faded like a bad dream. My phone's quiet now, no more begging texts or shady DMs. Sarah tried one last time to reach me, leaving a voicemail that was half apology, half meltdown. She said she was sorry for everything, that her friends pushed her to say those things, and that she was humiliated by the venue banning her. She begged me to call her back, said she'd do anything to fix it. I listened, then deleted it. I didn't know her closure. She made her bed when she decided I was just a prop for her big moment. I heard through Chris that she ended up paying the venue's bill after they threatened to take her to small claims court. Her friends scattered. Melissa and Tara blocked her, and Jake posted some vague story about cutting out toxic people. Guess he meant Sarah. Her Instagram's gone private now, no more flashy stories. Her queen bee crown's looking real tarnished. I ran into Mike, my bartender friend, at a coffee shop, and he filled me in on the gossip. Word had spread among local venues about Sarah's crew, and a couple of bars had already turned her away when she tried to book another party. Mike said, "She's persona non grata around here now. Nobody trusts her not to pull the same stunt." I nodded, not surprised. Actions have consequences, and Sarah was learning that the hard way. I didn't feel bad for her, not after what she planned. But I wasn't gloating either. I just felt free, like I'd been carrying her weight for months and finally set it down. My mom called to check in, and I told her the whole story. She just said, "You're worth more than that, son. Don't let anyone treat you like less." That stuck with me. She was right. I'd let Sarah and her friends treat me like a background character for too long. I decided to tie up one last loose end. I posted a final update in that event planning group, thanking everyone for their DMs and warning them to always get payment agreements in writing. I got a flood of likes and a few messages from people saying they'd dodged similar groups because of my posts. It felt good to know I wasn't alone, and maybe I'd saved someone else from getting played. I also sold the bracelet I'd gotten for Sarah, posted it on a local marketplace, and got most of my money back. Used the cash to buy a new set of tools for the shop. Felt like a clean break, turning her gift into something actually useful for me. Looking back, I'm not mad anymore, just clear. Sarah wanted to be the star, and I was just the guy who paid for the stage. But I'm done with that role. I've been hanging out with Chris and some old friends, hitting the gym, focusing on work. My life's quieter now, but it's mine. If there's one thing I learned, it's that you don't owe anybody your dignity. Sarah and her crew thought they could laugh at me, and I'd just take it. They were wrong. I didn't need to yell or fight to win. I just needed to walk away and let their own mess catch up to them. To anyone out there dealing with people who treat you like a punchline, here's my advice. Don't play their game. You don't need to be the villain or the hero. Just be the guy who knows his worth and doesn't let anyone tell him different.